Hello there. In this video, I'll show you how you can integrate ChatGPT with UiPath Studio, creating a powerful combination that will take your automation game to the next level. Before we begin, let's have a quick overview of what UiPath Studio is. In a nutshell, it's a leading robotic process automation tool that allows you to create and manage your automation workflows. It simplifies complex tasks, reduces errors, and boosts productivity. Now, imagine merging the capabilities of UiPath Studio with the natural language understanding process of ChatGPT. Integrating ChatGPT with UiPath Studio may seem complex, but let me assure you, it's easier than you think. Here are some common applications of ChatGPT. No, not just this. First one, customer support can be employed as a virtual assistant to handle customer queries and provide support. Personalized recommendations, it can analyze your user preferences and past interactions to provide personalized recommendations. Language translation, it can aid in real-time language translation, allowing users to communicate across language barriers. Education and e-learning, it can act as a virtual tutor or mentor. Content creation and editing, it can assist in generating content such as articles, blog posts, or social media updates. Virtual companions and entertainment, it can serve as a virtual companions, engaging users in conversation, telling stories, tracking jokes, or even playing interactive games. To get started with, we'll first open UiPath Studio. You can go to home and then you can create a new project if required. Else I've already created the project. So I'll take a new flowchart. So here this flowchart will be used to interact with ChatGPT. So to install, we need UiPath Web Activities. That's where we have API related activities to interact with ChatGPT API. So let's click on Manage Packages, go to All Packages and search for Web API activities. You can click on Update and then click on Save. I've already installed here so that these are masked. Okay, so within UiPath, we are good. Let's go with ChatGPT. So firstly, you have to sign in with ChatGPT. Chat.openai.com. You can log into here and then you can sign up. Already signed up. These are your ChatGPT interaction looks. You can give the prompt here, like what is UiPath Studio. It'll generate a quick text about UiPath. So these are here, we'll give the prompt, and this is one type of interaction with ChatGPT. So the way we want is to interact from UiPath Studio using an API. So for that, ChatGPT provides API key. Let's go to platform.openai.com. So this is where all your API related information will be there. So obtain a ChatGPT API key. For that, as I already mentioned, you have to sign up for an account. Make sure you have necessary permissions and access to ChatGPT API. So go to this URL, get the API, click on Personal, and then click on View API Keys. It will show you this window. Here you can create your own secret key. Click on Create New Secret Key. You can create secret key. That will create a secret key, and be careful, these will be visible only once. So just copy this to some notepad. I've already copied. Click on Done. So that's how you create a secret API key. Now, next step is to get CURL. Get the CURL. Click on API references. Then scroll down. You'll see a URL here. We're going to give a JSON as an input with our prompt, and then we're going to get a JSON object outside from the ChatGPT. So we don't use this one. Scroll down, and we use a text deviancy method. So this URL uses GPT 3.4 Turbo. So for that, we need extra permissions. So we are going to see the model called text deviancy. So scroll down until you see text deviancy. So this is the one. So we're going to use text dependency model. We're going to give a prompt and then the max tokens. So we can copy this one. With this and paste here. This is my API key. I'll be deleting after this session, so you can't use it. So this will be the C URL. Now we got all the installation done. Like we installed the required packages in UiPath, and then we got all the required information from ChatGPT to interact with that API. So now from UiPath, we'll directly interact with that API using activities. So first activity we need is HTTP request. So HTTP request is used to interact with that API, ChatGPT API. So previously we copied the URL, CURL, configuration URL from ChatGPT. So we directly use that. So one way is to directly click on configure and then we manually enter the endpoint preview URL and then the requested method and then all the things we have to manually enter. The other way is to directly use the configuration URL, copy this, click on input and paste the configuration URL and then click on validate. It shows successful, click on import. That will automatically copy to required fields. So now we have we filled all these automatically. And then now we have to paste this API key. And go to Notepad, you might have copied this URL. So use that and then paste it under OpenAPI key. Yes. So that is one place where we have to place, we have to copy. Second one is under authentication. Click on this and then select OAuth 2. And then access token, use access token. The access token is API key. Click on OK. So now we gave the information to make the HTTP request, and then the output, we have to store that output into a variable. So under output, we use response content. Click on Control K. That is a shortcut to create a variable. ChatGPT output. Go and enter. I already created before, so it is saying it is already created. I can just directly use it. Paste it there. And then now this will, we didn't give any prompt or something. We just made the URLs and then we configured it. We didn't give the required information to actually prompt the ChatGPT. So how do we give that? We have parameters called model, prompt, and max tokens. So we use these parameters and then we pass these manually and then we'll give. So we clicked on import and then we gave this entire information. But these three, it will take only the required fields. For example, this will be used. This will be the main endpoint on content type and authorization. So this it didn't take. So these we have to manually create a JSON and then we have to input to this HTTP request. So for that, we can take a multi-assign. So we're going to assign multiple variables. Fact is below. So we have to create a JSON object. I've created ChatGPT input. Type should be JObject. And then we always have to initialize it because we are going to manually give the data to that JSON object. So within that JSON object, GPT input, first key will be model. We copy model. And then second one will be our prompt. So firstly, the model we're going to use is text dependency. Copy that, give it double quotes. Then second one will be prompt. So this we can give, this will be the message that we're going to pass to ChatGPT, and then for that it will give the response. I'm going to give what is here. We give these two, and then we can directly connect to HTTP request. So that information we have to pass it under. We have to pass that HTTP request. That where do we pass? Scroll down and then you find options. Then here under body we give that. So here we will have a problem. Like it can't take the JSON object directly. If you place it over it here, it will take string type. So let's directly give ChatGPT input. Then it says JSON cannot be converted to a string. So now what do? We convert this variable to a string. For that we have something called JSON convert, and then serialize object. Then within that it will take object as an input, and then it will give a string. So it will give object, and that will be converted to a string. Now we are done. So we gave the input, and then the output will be stored in ChatGPT output. Now let's print it in a message box. Now let's debug it. We didn't give any limit to the max tokens. So by default, the max token length was 21. So it gave 21 words, 21 letters. So what is UiPath? We gave what is UiPath, and then it limitedly shown UiPath is a robotic process automation RPA. And then since we didn't edit the max tokens key, it gave a limited number of values. Click on OK. Then now we pass one more variable here. So to increase the max tokens limit, we use this key, max tokens key. We copy it, and we paste there, and then we give the limit. Previously the limit was 7. So now let's give the limit as 100, maybe in 100 tokens. Let's start. Now it gave a meaningful message. So since the number of tokens we increased, right? Completion tokens are 100 now. So it gave a meaningful. UiPath is a robotic process automation. So now it is completely a string now. So we have to convert this into a JSON object so that can get only text from this. Let's click on OK. So this is a string variable now. So now if you see this output, so inside the curly braces, this entire thing is a JSON. So inside the curly braces, we have choices. So under the choices, we have the output. Under text key, we have the required, the output that we expect, that is under text. So firstly, we deserialize this entire JSON, and within that, we will use only choices. We use a choices key, and then we get only this one. And then if you see after choices, it is square braces. Square braces means this is a JSON array. So we deserialize that JSON array. So let's see. So we'll delete this message box, and then we use log message so that we can have that content in output when. Now, firstly, we deserialize that JSON. We use deserialize JSON activity for that. And then we pass that ChatGPT output, that is a string. Then we convert that into a JSON object. So by default, it will be object. So change that to JObject. Then name it. So the object type, the variable type is JObject. So JOBJ. And then the name will be ChatGPT. Oh, done it. So now let's print again and then see what it prints. And then we see what is the difference of when it is a string, and then we see what is the how it changed when after we deserialized. Let's give the input as JObject, and now let's run the bot. So I'll go to output pane, and then we'll see the difference. So actually, when it is a string, so it will not be formatted. So when we convert that to JSON array, so now this will be our JSON converted JSON object. So from here we need choices. So now let's print only choices. Let's run it again. So now we got only the choices, and then these are JSON array. So we have to deserialize this and to this JSON array again, and then we can get the text. So for that we have deserialized JSON array. Drag it, then pass this as an input. So from the JSON object that we already converted before, from that we take choices, and then it says it is a J token. So we convert that to string. I mean, convert that to string, and then we give create one more variable. Now we'll call it as J array and same name. ChatGPT. Put hit and enter, and then now again we'll take a log message, and then within that now we have J array. So if we already know about what an array is, from if you have to print an element from an array, so we directly pass an index. So within that, this is the first element. So this entire thing is the first element. So under that, we need text. So how do we mention that? So if we need text, only text from this entire message, we directly mention under the first element. We need text. So let's run it again. Now if you see, UiPath Orchestrator is a web application that enables you to orchestrate your UiPath robots. So whatever query we gave, it will return back, and this is the only plain text. Now let's change the question. Let's ask what is RPA? You see, it is telling robotic process automation is the use of software robots to automate business process. So this is how you interact with the ChatGPT from UiPath. So a quick overview. So firstly, we did the installation. We installed the JSON web API activities to use HTTP request, and then we configured something in ChatGPT, like for example, API key we got from ChatGPT website, and then we copied C URL, and then we clicked on import, and then we copied that C URL, this entire C URL here, and then we clicked on with this entire these two elements were automatically configured, and then API key also. And then since we this information is already given, so we have to give some input as manually. For example, model, prompt, and then max tokens. We gave them using a multiple assign, and then we printed that output, and then that's it. The rest of the things are the how do we manipulate the output to get the required information from that JSON. So that's how it is done. Okay, that's a wrap for today. I hope you found this video informative and inspiring. If you want to learn more, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Stay tuned for more exciting tech tips and tricks. Until next time, happy automating.